Good afternoon, class. I'll be continuing with the same chapter. Chapter 7, South India and the Rise of the Cholas. Page number is 202. And these are the topics which I'm going to discuss with you today. In yesterday's class, I've explained up to the administration under the Cholas, the central government, the Cholas as a maritime power, navy, and the provincial administration. So today I'll be starting with the new topic, local administration, village assemblies. So village, as we have already learned, were the lowest and the most basic administrative unit during the Chola period. So we have already learned that village were the lowest and the more basic administrative unit in the during the Chola period. So local administration with village assemblies as an unique features gave a unique new dimension to governance at the lowest level. So the most important source for local or the village administration is the inscription of Chola king Parantaka I from the Chingalput district. So as the local administration, with village assemblies, they gave unique features and new dimension to the governance at the lowest level. So the most important source for source for the local or village administration is the inscription. The most important was the inscription of Chola king Parantaka I from the Chingalpur district. Features of village assemblies. The village assemblies in the Chola period had the following features. So there are some features for the village assemblies. First one is the assembly usually consisted of the adult males of the village. So the village, the assembly usually it is consisted with the adult males of the village. Second is the assemblies derived their authority from ancient custom, ideal rights, moral support of the village flock, and the codes of Smriti. So the assemblies also derived their authorities from the ancient India. They follow the authorities from the ancient custom, the ideal rights, moral support of the village and flock, and low courts of Smriti. They follow this low courts of Smriti. Third point is the village assemblies and other groups were placed on the same footing in their relation with the government. So the village assembly and the other groups, both these village assemblies and other groups, they were placed on the same footing, as they were at the same, they are equal in their relation with the government. The fourth point is village assemblies perform a wide range of functions, but groups perform specific function like maintenance of a single temple or regulation of particular threats. So the village assemblies perform wide range. They perform various ranges of function, but the groups as compared to village assemblies, the groups perform only specific functions like maintenance of a single temple. These groups maintain the single temple or regulation of a particular threat. Fifth point is the village were divided into series, streets or quarters, and the people of this series form a group for certain purposes. For instance, King Uttama Chola appointed the people of two series of Kanchipuram to take charge of the Urakam temple and manage its affairs. So the village were divided into series, streets or quarter, and the people of each series or group for certain. They form a group for certain purposes. For instance, King Uttama Chola appointed the people from two series, as he appointed people from two series of Kanchipuram and given and take the charge of the Urakam temple. They were given the charge of Urakam temple and even manage its affairs. Next topic is village assemblies Mahasabha and Nagaram. Village administration during the Chola period is also known to be systematic and well developed. So during the Chola period, the village administration was systematic and they are well developed. The Ur was the simplest type of the village assembly. The word Ur is believed to mean a village or town. It sometimes functioned jointly with the Sabha or Mahasabha. So this Ur, it is the simplest type of a village assembly. So the word Ur is believed to mean a village. Or the word the Ur is mean to be a village or town. It sometimes function jointly with the Sabha and Mahasabha. In some areas, it was the only assembly. The Ur had an executive body called Alunganam or ruling group. So the numerical strength and member of the appointed are not except in the case of Uttara Mirror. Meeting were attended by the resident of Ur and leading part of the in discussion was taken by the elders. So in some areas, it was the only assembly. This Ur was the only assembly, and they had an executive. This Ur also had an executive body called Alunganam. The executive body of Ur is called Alunganam or ruling group. The numerical strength and manner, the numerical strength of Ur and its appointment are unknown, as they are not given, so they are unknown except in the case of Uttara Mirror. The meeting were also attended by the resident of Ur, and the leading part in discussion, the leading part of the discussion, whatever the main discussion, it was done by the elders of the village. The next is Mahasabha. The Mahasabha, also known as the Sabha, usually had a large Brahmin population. Chaturvedi Mangalam, huge number of royal land grants of Brahmins, created large settlement or village of Brahmins who managed local affairs through the Sabha and its executive. In Brahmin villages, the Ur and Sabha coexisted. So the Mahasabha, also known as Sabha, usually this Mahasabha had a this Mahasabha contained a large population of Brahmins and Brahmin population, Chaturvedi Mangalam. Huge number of royal land grants to Brahmins. The huge number of royal land were given to the Brahmins, created large settlement of villages for Brahmins, as whom they managed the local affairs through the Sabha and its executive. In Brahman villages, the Ur and the Sabha, both these Ur and Sabha coexisted. Structure and functions. The Sabha had a complex administration machineries and functioned through variams or committees. The number, nature and method of appointment of variams different in different Sabhas. The best known example of variams are that of the Sabha of Uttara Mirror. According to a resolution, the village was divided into 30 wards, which were again grouped into 12 series or streets. The method of selection was lottery, but selection was confined to those who were nominated by the wards as per rules and regulation. Important committees were Gold Committee, Tank Committees, Judicial Committees, etc. So the structure and function, as the Sabha had a complex administration. The Sabha, it has a very complex administrative machineries and function, and this was functioned by through variams or committee or the variams. They function the Sabha. The number and nature and method of appointment of the number of nature and methods appointment of variams different from different Sabha. So the best known example of variams are the Sabha of Uttara Mirror. So after the resolution, the village was divided into 30 wards, and 30 wards, and again they were these 30 wards, again they were grouped into 12 series or streets. Important committees were also appointed, like goal committee, tank committees, and even judicial committees, etc. The Sabha held its meeting in temples and mandapas of the village, outside the village, on the banks of a tank, under a tree, or at night. The Sabha was summoned by the beating of a drum, and meeting was started by the sound of a bugle. So the Sabha held its meeting in temples, in temples and mandapa of the villages, even in the outside village, or the banks, or even in the on the banks of the river, or banks of the tank, even under the tree, or at night. So the sabha was summoned. The summon means announced. The sabha was announced by the beating of a drum, by beating, one person beat the drum, and they will announce the meeting. And the meeting was started by the sound of a bugle. As far as its function are concerned, the Sabha owned land and controlled private lands in its area, reclaimed forests and wasteland, cooperated with royal officials in estimating the produce of agriculture and assessing land revenue, collected land revenue, and in case of default, could sell and land through public auction. The Sabha also maintained roads and irrigation works and supervised all kinds of endowments. So, as the function are concerned, the Sabha own land. The Sabha, they own land, and even they control private land in its area. They even reclaim forests and waterlands. The Sabha can reclaim the forests and waterlands, cooperating with the royal officials in estimating the produce of agriculture land, and accessing, even they assess the land revenue, collected land revenue, and in case of default, could sell, even they could not pay the revenue, the land could they could sell the land through public auction. Even the sabha also maintain road and irrigation. Even they maintain the road and irrigation work, and even supervise all kinds of endowments. First one is the Nagaram. The Nagaram was a local assembly which is not common like the Ur or the Sabha. It was the main assembly of merchant which was found in important trade centers and purely industrial areas. So the Nagaram was a local assembly which is not this Nagaram is not like the Ur and the Sabha, and it was mainly assembly for the merchants. And this was found which was found in trade centers and in purely industrial areas. This nagaram was found in only purely industrial areas. Next is nadus. Territorial assemblies like the nadus also existed and managed important functions like land revenue, administration, and charitable endowments. These nadus are a territorial assembly. The territorial assemblies like the nadus, they also existed and manage important. They also manage important functions like they work in the land revenue system, administration, and charitable endowment of the kingdom. Status of village assembly. The village assemblies were autonomous and economically self-sufficient, but it required government approval in case of alteration in the classification of land. So the village assemblies, as they had to work, they work autonomous and autonomous. They are free and they are economically self-sufficient, but even these village assemblies, they also require government for in the approval in case of alteration, means changes. If they want to change in any classification of land, they need the approval of the government. Next is groups. The village were divided into series or quarters, and the people of each quarters form a group which perform a specific function. For example, carpenter, goldsmith, washerman, etc. of Tanjore. One group is personal group, professional group. Membership depend on birth resistance and occupation. The government or private bodies did not interfere with the working of groups, and the relation depended on mutual goodwill. So these the village as the groups, the village were divided as the village were divided into series or quarters, and the people of each series form a group which as they were perform specific function. For example, carpenter, goldsmith, washerman, etc. of Tangier. So one group, even one group is a professional group. So membership, as the membership of this group depended on the place of birth, resistance, and occupation. So even the government bodies and the private bodies, they did not interfere with the working of the groups, and their relation depended on the mutual goodwill with the kingdom. Next is local taxation. The village assemblies were exempt for taxation. The sources of income included land revenue, local cess of on shop stalls, etc. They took large sums of money from individuals for job like diggings and things. So the local taxation, the village assemblies, the village assemblies were they were not they were exempt, as they don't give tax to the kingdom. And even the source of income of these village assemblies included from the land revenue, local local cess on substance means tax, as this local tax on shops, tolls, etc. And even they took large sum of money. Even these local assemblies, they took large sums of money from the individuals for particular jobs like digging a tank. For digging a tank, these local village assemblies take a large sum of money from individuals. In the next class, I'll be discussing about the society under the Cholas and other topics. So that's all for today. Thank you.